The Leftovers. You wake October 15th expecting ordinary Tuesday routines, but 140 million people simply aren't there anymore. No bodies, no explanations, just empty clothes scattered across sidewalks where humans stood moments before. Your neighbor vanished mid-conversation. A baby disappeared from its stroller while the mother blinked. The sudden departure defies every scientific principle, religious prophecy, and rational framework humanity possessed. 3 years later, you're still searching for meaning in randomness. Support groups form around shared trauma, but comfort feels impossible when causality itself broke. Some join cults promising reunion with the departed. Others embrace nihilistic hedonism. If existence lacks purpose, why maintain pretense? The guilty remnant takes vows of silence, chain-smoking themselves toward early graves, insisting grief should remain fresh. Your faith crumbles or intensifies. There's no middle ground when reality breaks this completely. You scrutinize every relationship for signs of worthiness, wondering why you remained while others vanished. Survival guilt becomes existential poison. Children adapt faster than adults, accepting inexplicable loss as normal, which disturbs you more than their initial grief. The government investigates endlessly, finding nothing. Scientists propose theories debunked within days. Religious leaders claim divine judgment while struggling with their own doubts. You realize the most terrifying aspect isn't the disappearance itself. It's living in a universe where ultimate questions have no answers, where suffering serves no purpose, and where the people you loved most might have simply stopped existing for reasons you'll never understand. Higurashi When They Cry. You arrive in Hinamizawa during late spring, when cicadas begin their deafening chorus, and residents prepare for the annual Watanagashi festival. The village seems idyllic, rolling hills, traditional architecture, friendly neighbors who remember everyone's names. Your new classmates welcome you warmly, especially Reina, whose bright smile never quite reaches her eyes. But each June brings death. Residents disappear or die violently around festival time, victims of Oyashiro-sama's curse, divine punishment for disrespecting ancient traditions. You dismiss superstition until witnessing impossible things. Friends transforming into murderous strangers, clawing at their own throats while screaming about parasites crawling beneath skin. Paranoia spreads like infection as neighbors become predators. The loops begin without warning. You die horribly, tortured, betrayed, driven insane, then wake again on the same spring morning. Friends who murdered you yesterday greet you cheerfully, unaware of previous timelines. Each cycle reveals new horrors: government conspiracies, biological weapons, secret experiments using villagers as test subjects. Death offers no escape. Consciousness persists through every restart. Satoko giggles while wielding bloody knives. Mion's twin sister replaces her wearing that familiar smile. Reina speaks sweetly while describing dismemberment techniques. The village itself becomes character, beautiful exterior concealing systematic horror. You begin understanding the truth. There is no curse, just human evil disguised as supernatural tradition. But knowing changes nothing. The cicadas keep singing, the festival approaches, and someone always dies. The loop ensures it. Little Hope. You crash outside Little Hope during a winter storm, trapped with strangers whose faces trigger uncomfortable recognition. The abandoned town feels familiar despite never visiting. Colonial architecture, weathered gravestones, fog that moves against wind patterns. Street signs point toward locations matching half-remembered nightmares. Your traveling companions notice the resemblance too, sharing glances heavy with unspoken dread. Walking through empty streets reveals impossible overlaps. You witness 1692's witch trials superimposed on modern ruins, Puritan accusers pointing fingers while contemporary figures occupy the same spaces. Time bleeds together as past and present merge. The executed witches bear uncanny resemblance to your group, their crimes matching your traveling companions' deepest secrets and hidden guilts. Each supernatural encounter forces moral choices echoing historical atrocities. You must decide whether to trust or condemn, save or sacrifice, believe accusations or defend innocence. The witch trials repeat through different eras: colonial persecution, 1970s factory accidents, present-day judgments. But patterns remain constant. Fear drives communities towards scapegoating, transforming neighbors into monsters through collective hysteria. The demons stalking your group manifest personal failures and regrets given supernatural form. Every death feels deserved. Punishment for moral compromises accumulated across lifetimes. You realize Little Hope isn't a place, but a psychological state. The moment when guilt transforms into self-destruction, when past sins demand present payment. The fog doesn't hide monsters, it reveals them. And sometimes, the greatest horror is recognizing yourself as both victim and perpetrator in humanity's endless cycle of judgment and condemnation. Mexican Gothic. You marry into English nobility and relocate to High Place, a decaying Victorian mansion perched on Mexican mountainsides like diseased tooth. Your new husband's family speaks in whispers, their pale skin contrasting sharply with local populations they regard as genetically inferior. The house reeks of rot disguised by expensive perfumes, wallpaper peeling to reveal moldy surfaces underneath pristine facades. Nights bring strange dreams, memories that aren't yours, experiences from previous generations bleeding into consciousness. You walk corridors as different women, wives, daughters, servants, all connected through fungal networks growing behind walls. The house breathes through organic ventilation systems, spores filling lungs with each inhalation. Beautiful English roses in the garden feed on human decomposition. The Doyle family's immortality depends on parasitic relationships with young women, consciousness transferring through airborne spores into fresh hosts. Previous wives experienced the same progression: initial love, growing sickness, mental deterioration, eventual absorption into the house's collective memory. Your predecessor's personalities linger in peripheral vision, warning through dreams and half-heard whispers. You discover the basement laboratory where eugenic experiments span generations, attempts to create perfect vessels for consciousness transfer. Local indigenous knowledge offers protection, silver and ancient remedies disrupting fungal growth. But escape requires abandoning everything beautiful about your new life. The luxury, romance, belonging you thought you'd found. The house offers eternal life through surrender of individual identity. Every breath deepens infection. Every day spent in that beautiful prison draws you closer to becoming another memory trapped in moldering walls. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. You arrive in Red Creek Valley following supernatural disturbances, equipped with paranormal abilities that reveal hidden truths through psychic observation. The mining town feels abandoned despite recent tragedy. Empty houses with meals still warm, cars parked as if owners intended to return momentarily. Your investigation begins with a child's disappearance, but expands into something far more disturbing. Walking through valley landscapes triggers visions of violent events, murders played out in ghostly reenactments, family conflicts escalating toward deadly conclusions. Each crime scene tells stories through supernatural archaeology, blood patterns speaking across time, murder weapons retaining emotional imprints. You piece together the Carter family's destruction through psychic evidence, watching their final days unfold in spectral fragments. Reality warps around your investigation. Train tracks appear where none existed on maps. Forest paths lead to locations violating geographical logic. The valley itself seems conscious, mourning lost residents, preserving final moments in supernatural amber. Your detective work becomes archaeology of trauma, each solved mystery revealing deeper horrors underlying rural community breakdown. But solving crimes changes nothing fundamental. The dead remain dead, their killers beyond earthly justice. Your psychic gifts show truth without offering redemption or resurrection. You understand why Ethan Carter vanished, not through murder or accident, but because innocence cannot survive exposure to adult evil. The valley preserves his disappearance as metaphor, childhood's end, hope's destruction, beauty's corruption by human violence. Your investigation documents humanity's capacity for destroying what it should protect. Truth offers no comfort, only terrible clarity about what was lost forever. You transfer to Yomayama North Middle School during spring semester, assigned to Class 3-3 despite warnings from students in other grades. Your new classmates seem friendly but nervous, speaking carefully around certain topics, avoiding specific desk locations. Everyone pretends not to notice the extra student, a quiet girl with an eye patch who attends sporadically, invisible to most class members. Deaths begin immediately, classmates and their families dying in increasingly elaborate accidents. A student falls downstairs, impaled on umbrella points. A house fire consumes an entire family overnight. Each death seems coincidental until patterns emerge. All victims connected to Class 3-3, all dying in ways too theatrical for mere chance. Your teacher insists everything is normal while nervously adjusting lesson plans around empty desks. The curse began 26 years ago when beloved student Misaki died mid-semester. Classmates couldn't accept loss, pretending he still attended, maintaining empty desk, including him in graduation photos. Their collective denial created supernatural imbalance, one extra student disrupting life-death boundaries. Now, Class 3-3 attracts deceased individuals who don't realize their deaths, invisible to most classmates who unconsciously participate in elaborate denial systems. Each year brings new calamity as the extra dead student triggers cascading mortality. You must identify who doesn't belong among the living, but everyone appears equally real, equally vulnerable. Suspicion transforms classmates into potential threats. The school becomes elaborate death trap where ordinary activities, walking upstairs, crossing streets, cooking cooking dinner become deadly Russian roulette. Education continues while students die around you. Curriculum proceeding normally through supernatural emergency. Death enrolls in every class, and someone always fails to graduate. Monument Mythos. You visit the Statue of Liberty expecting patriotic symbolism, but discover something far more disturbing beneath copper facade. Official histories omit crucial details. The statue's construction involved materials not found on Earth, its torch broadcasting signals toward deep space, its internal architecture defying geometric principles. Government tours skip sub-level chambers where impossible machines hum with otherworldly purpose. Mount Rushmore conceals vast underground installations carved by forces predating human civilization. Presidential faces serve as camouflage for monitoring stations observing dimensional boundaries. The Lincoln Memorial houses crypts containing entities that influenced American political development from shadows. Each landmark represents intersection points where cosmic forces manipulate human history through architectural channels. Your research reveals systematic cover-ups spanning centuries, national monuments serving as anchors for otherworldly intelligences, government agencies collaborating with non-human entities, American exceptionalism hiding cosmic horror truths. The Washington Monument functions as transmission tower communicating with intelligences existing between dimensions. Yellowstone's geysers release pressure from imprisoned creatures larger than continents. You uncover classified documents describing special trees, landmark entities maintaining reality stability through supernatural means. Their destruction would trigger cascading collapse across dimensional boundaries. America isn't a country but a containment zone, its iconic symbols hiding cosmic prisoners whose escape would end human civilization. Every Pledge of Allegiance honors monuments designed to keep unimaginable horrors sleeping. Tourism becomes pilgrimage to hidden temples. Photography captures glimpses of truth hidden behind patriotic symbolism. Your investigation reveals America's true foundation, not freedom or democracy, but desperate agreements with entities too vast for human comprehension, maintaining uneasy peace through monumental deception. The Babadook Extended. You read the children's book that appeared mysteriously in your son's room, its pages describing creatures that emerge from maternal exhaustion and accumulated rage. The Babadook's illustrations seem hand-drawn by someone intimately familiar with your specific struggles. Sleepless nights, mounting bills, deceased husband's absence creating emotional voids. Your child's behavioral problems intensify after each reading, but he insists on repetition. Grief transforms daily life into horror film. Simple tasks become overwhelming obstacles. Your son's needs feel like supernatural demands draining life force. You catch glimpses of dark figures in peripheral vision, shadows moving independently of their sources. The house echoes with sounds that might be settling wood or something much worse. Your reflection shows strangers' eyes hollow and desperate. The entity feeds on maternal guilt, growing stronger with each self-recrimination about inadequate parenting, insufficient love, resentment toward dead husband for abandoning you both. It whispers through heating vents, suggesting solutions too terrible to consider. Your son's fear mirrors your own, not of monsters, but of what you might become under pressure's weight. Neighborhood friends distance themselves as your behavior becomes increasingly erratic, but the Babadook isn't entirely external force. It's manifestation of trauma refusing integration, grief demanding acknowledgement. Fighting it directly proves impossible. Denial feeds its power. Acceptance offers different approach, admitting darkness exists while refusing its control. You learn to coexist with monster rather than eliminating it, keeping grief's creature fed and contained in basement spaces. Some battles end not with victory, but management. The Babadook remains, but on your terms. Acknowledge shadow that no longer dictates daily life. Spec Ops. The Line. You deploy to Dubai expecting standard rescue operation. Locate survivors, extract civilians, maintain professional military standards. The city lies buried beneath massive sandstorms that transformed glittering metropolis into post-apocalyptic wasteland. Your three-man Delta Force team carries enough ammunition for brief reconnaissance, but situation complexity exceeds briefing parameters. Abandoned skyscrapers become vertical maze where every quarter might hide enemy combatants or desperate civilians. Orders grow increasingly ambiguous as communication with command deteriorates. You make tactical decisions based on incomplete intelligence, each choice cascading into greater moral compromise. Using white phosphorus against entrenched positions seems tactically sound until discovering civilian casualties among military targets. The burning refugees weren't enemy soldiers. They were families seeking shelter, their screams haunting radio chatter for hours afterward. Your team leader's psychology fragments under command pressure and accumulated trauma. He begins hallucinating radio communications, receiving orders from dead commanders, insisting mission success justifies escalating brutality. You follow increasingly questionable commands while civilian body count mounts. Dubai's social infrastructure infrastructure collapses as international forces become indistinguishable from occupying armies. Rescue mission transforming into military coup. Reality distorts through post-traumatic stress and moral injury. You realize you've become villain in someone else's story. Foreign soldier destroying home, protector turned predator, hero rhetoric masking imperial violence. The line between justified force and war crime blurs beyond recognition. There are no good choices remaining, only degrees of horror. You wanted to help, but help looks suspiciously like conquest when delivered through military intervention. Some games cannot be won, only survived with whatever humanity remains intact.
Subscribe for more interesting stuff. Tell us your experience in the comments.